Will you pray with me? May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable to you, O God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. I am not an artsy, craftsy type of person. I'm reminded of this every Christmas season when we decorate the family Christmas tree at my parents' house and pull out a few choice ornaments that I made as a child. These ornaments have been saved for posterity, not because they are cute, artistic, or even sentimental, but because they are simply so bad that they bring great Christmas joy and mirth to the whole family. There's a Christmas elephant, a clay figurine I made in Sunday school that was supposed to be an angel with a thumpet. But it looks more like an elephant with a trunk and spaghetti on its head. There's Thumbelina, another Sunday school project that I later was told was supposed to be the baby Jesus in the manger. But my 4-year-old self gave the baby Jesus long hair and put him in a pretty dress. Apparently, I was going through a Thumbelina phase. And finally, there's the mystery ornament that's become a bit of a Rorschach test for our family. It sparks great debate each year. It's a black and white clay blob with a few appendages. I think I was going for a manger, maybe a sheep, but my youngest brother has made the strong case that it looks more like the state of Wisconsin with legs. I feel the need to tell you this story and offer this disclaimer before we begin to distribute this year's Epiphany stars, because, well, I made them. And as you now understand, I am not an artsy, craftsy type of person. But let's back up a bit, because you might be asking, what on earth is an Epiphany star? Today, as we said in the children's sermon, we celebrate the feast day of Epiphany, a word that means manifestation or appearance, and celebrates the way that God is revealed, that God shows up in Jesus Christ. Epiphany is also called Three Kings Day, and it commemorates the wise men following the star, finding the child Jesus and recognizing that he truly is God. In recent years, many churches have taken up the practice of giving out star words or Epiphany stars in worship. It's a creative little prayer practice of randomly picking a paper star with a guiding word on it, a word to meditate on and pray on over the course of the year. Many people post their star on their refrigerator or bathroom mirror, somewhere where it's easily visible, a daily reminder. The idea is that just as the star guided the wise men to Bethlehem, we let these words guide us through the coming year, always bringing us back to God. We can return to this word when we feel lost or confused, when our lives feel like they're going off track and we need some sort of guidepost, a North Star, a compass needle to guide wonder, which seems just perfect to me. So this year, the worship team decided, let's try it. Let's hand out some Epiphany stars, see what people think. But this week, I learned that one cannot find pre-cut stars in Taos. No big deal, I thought. I'll make up a pattern. I'll get some poster board. and I'll make some handmade Epiphany stars. How lovely. Can't be that hard, right? Well, remember the Christmas ornaments. I am not an artsy, craftsy kind of person. Oh, I am not going to try to explain to you what happened in the making of the Epiphany stars, because quite frankly, I do not entirely know what happened. All I know is that I am not the best at lining things up or cutting in a straight line. So, some of your Epiphany stars look like this, and some like this, and some like this, and some like this. But on the bright side, at least they look mostly like stars and are not too likely to be confused with an elephant or, say, Wisconsin. It occurred to me, though, as I was writing the words on these stars, that maybe it's appropriate that they're a little off balance, lopsided, and missing a point or two. Because if these stars are to symbolize God's guidance in our lives, well, much of that guidance is kind of lopsided, partial, incomplete, isn't it? Take the wise men. We tell the story of how they followed the star to Bethlehem, but we're leaving out a big chunk of the story that we heard in our gospel reading. The wise men followed the star to Jerusalem, to Herod's palace, to where one would expect a king to be born, but they did not find the Messiah there. And Herod sure didn't know where to look. It took all the scribes and the chief priests, all the king's horses and all the king's men to scour the scriptures and find that text. By no means least among the rulers of Judah, for from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people, Israel. And the wise men went to Bethlehem. The wise men followed the partial. It was incomplete. They needed also the help of Jerusalem, and they needed the faith without having the slightest. I find some life never goes quite as we planned, does it? I only have received divine guidance that is partial and incomplete, shadows and intuitions, hopes and dreams. I too have set out on journeys in my life of faith, not knowing at all where the path will lead. I wonder, is that what it's like for you? How have you received God's guidance in your life? Does insight and clarity come to you like a bright, shining star in the east? Or does it look more like one of these kindergarten mishaps? Where does God beckon to you? How do you know when it's time to follow? Perhaps what makes the wise men wise is not their astrological brilliance or their circumnavigation skills, but their openness to hear God's call and to set out on the journey. They were willing to walk into the dark, not knowing where the path would lead. They saw the light of God on the horizon, and they were determined to follow that light. How do we recognize God's light? Where do we follow it? Where in our souls do we find the faith and the willingness to even set out on such an uncertain, uncharted journey? And then I always wonder, how did the wise men get home? Matthew tells us simply that having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. And the wise men disappear from the story. I wonder, was there a star to guide them this time, or were they stumbling in the dark? Did they get lost on this new road? Was it dangerous? Did they start to wonder if that dream they had was foolishness, a product of too rich food or too much wine rather than the word of the Lord? Or did the light burn within them because they had seen the Messiah? Was their light now internal, guiding them home by a flame in their own hearts? The time comes every year to turn and walk away from the manger, to follow God along the weary and uncertain roads of our own lives. So as we begin this journey, friends, receive this blessing from the liturgical poet, Jan Richardson. There is no reversing this road, Richardson writes. The path that bore you here goes in one direction only, every step drawing you down a way by which you will not return. You thought arrival was everything, that your entire journey ended with kneeling in the place that you had spent all to find. When you laid down your gift, release came with such ease, your treasure tumbling from your hands in awe and benediction. Now, the knowledge of your leaving comes like a stone placed over your heart, the familiar path closed, and not even the light of a star to guide your way. You will set out in fear. You will set out in dream, but you will set out by that other road that lies in shadow and in dark. We cannot show you the route that will take you home. The way is yours and will be found in the walking. But we tell you, you will wonder at how the light that you thought you had left behind goes with you, spilling from empty hands, shimmering beneath your homeward feet, illuminating the road with every step you take. May the light of this star, friends, guide us all the way home.